the Artist Chief.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Artist Chief. Got a few subjects to talk about tonight. First off, we're going to talk about the New England Patriots. Boo! So, the cunning Bill Belichick decided to sign Cam Newton and put it out there for the world to consume about an hour before the penalties were handed down for them spying on Cincinnati the year before. So bravo to you, you sly dog, you. The Patriots are the biggest cheaters ever, man. Talk about a slap on the wrist. They got fined like $1.1 million for spying on the Bengals. And then I think they got docked a third-round draft pick, and I don't know what else. It just boggles my mind that nobody cares. Like, we've seen athletes in other sports who've cheated and no one considers them to be the winners that they were. You know, they've always had an asterisk by their name, and they always will in a lot of eyes. And, you know, like, it's just ridiculous. Like, how do they keep skating? They got fined more than they're actually going to pay Cam Newton, which is also disgusting, which we're going to get to that here shortly. But let's go over some other past transgressions, okay? The GOAT got suspended for 4 games. There was also a time when multiple players tested positive for PEDs, including Rodney Harrison in 2007, Brandon Spikes in 2010, Jermaine Cunningham in 2012, Brandon Bolden in 2012, Rob Ninkovich in 2016, and our favorite, Julian Edelman, in 2018. We all know about the original Spygate. They got slapped with the 500, or Bill Belichick did, I forget whichever, but they got slapped with a $500,000 fine. I think they lost a draft pick or two there. Why does nobody care? This is complete crap. They only spied on the Bengals because that's what they do. It's just like normal behavior for them, you know? It's like an alcoholic. They just start drinking. It's just normal behavior. Like, why does nobody care? Why doesn't the league do more? I mean, Robert Kraft should have to sell that team. Like, it's just ridiculous. Especially after his ordeal with the Spagate. Like, he's just gross, man. And, like, I don't care what anybody says. I mean, people are multifaceted, but you got to hold yourself to a higher standard than that, buddy. I mean, you're the owner of a $1 billion franchise. Like, come on. It's disgusting. You've allowed all this cheating to go on for 20 years. I don't know that Bill Belichick is that good of a coach. Just based on the fact that they've cheated for so long. Who knows how much has gone on there. Eventually, a tell-all book's going to come out. Somebody's going to be ticked off at Belichick. You know, whether it's somebody just working for the team. Maybe Cam Newton gets ticked off at him. I don't know, but someday the truth is going to come out. We're going to see just what a disgusting and lame organization they really are. Okay, now I want to talk about Eric Bienemy, the offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs. Why does this guy not have a head coaching job in the NFL is beyond me. It really stinks of racism. I don't have any other way to put it. Let's talk about some examples of coaches that have been hired in the last 2 years. Okay, so the New York Giants signed Joe Judge to be their head coach, who, if I remember correctly, was like a tight ends coach for the Patriots. We've seen how these Patriot coaches have turned out in the league. Like, and most of them were offensive or defensive coordinators first. And Eric Bienemy doesn't get a shot. Let's talk about Cliff Kingsbury. In 2019, the Arizona Cardinals hired Cliff. He used to be a coach at Texas Tech. And during his collegiate career as a head coach, he is .467, going 35-40. He had Patrick Mahomes for 3 years during that time and won absolutely nothing. And people will say, Corey, he didn't have any defense. Well, that's also a shot at him in recruiting. And I think recruiting can go to decision making as far as draft picks and roster moves and acquiring players as well. That doesn't bode well for him, and it just hasn't been going that great so far in Arizona. And just the fact that a guy like Matt Nagy is a head coach for the Bears after being an offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs. What did he win? Eric Bienemy won the Super Bowl. Doug Peterson, he did go on to win the Super Bowl, but he was just the same gig, man. Just offensive coordinator under Andy Reid. A lot of Andy Reid's guys have done really well in the NFL. Just look at his coaching tree from, what is it? I don't want to say the name wrong. John Harbaugh. Yeah, not Jim. I think it's John, the coach of the Ravens. Excuse me. You've seen what he's done. Ron Rivera's done well. I can't remember the other ones off the top of my head, but they've had a lot of success. There's no reason that Eric Bienemy couldn't be a leader of men. I'm glad he's still with us, but that's also horse crap. The guy deserves an NFL head coaching job. It's ridiculous. I think the Dallas Cowboys in particular should have signed him as their head coach instead of Mike McCarthy. I think a lot of the winning in Green Bay had to do with Aaron Rodgers and not Mike McCarthy. I don't think he knows football as well as somebody like Eric Bieniemy does. So I said my piece. I love Eric Bieniemy. He deserves a head coaching job in the NFL. Okay, on to the mailbag portion of today's programming. And first off, Roan Evans asks, is the Patriots' punishment enough considering their pattern of cheating? Absolutely not. They should have had the book thrown at them. They should have had a first-round pick taken away from them. I think the fine should have been much, much more significant. This is something that is not okay to go on in the NFL or any sports, for that matter, sports leagues. It's absurd that this is allowed to go on. And, I mean, Roger Goodell and Robert Kraft are just so buddy-buddy. I mean, this is the only explanation I could come up with. It's ridiculous. In other sports, the team would be booed off the field every week. Look at the Astros, man. They're going to get booed every time they go on the baseball diamond, no matter where they're at. It's absurd. It's mind-boggling that they got such a slap on the wrist after all these years. After it's like the third or fourth time these people have gotten in trouble for cheating. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm all riled up tonight. All right, at Anthony Tattoo U asks, when should Chop Talk return? Who should I invite for my next guest co-host to replace the little man who left me? Chop Talk should come back on the air immediately. It is a holiday weekend, so I'm going to say you should aim for Tuesday night. I think you should go with Monday nights. Monday's a great day for those of us to listen to a podcast, especially when we send our mailbag questions in and we have something to look forward to for the beginning of our work week. And who you should have on there, you should definitely alternate some hosts. Until you find out, which one works the best. Obviously, you should pick Roan or Carl Hungus. They both have done really well on there. They're both good talkers. They know what they're talking about. And I think you should try to keep it limited to a couple of hosts at a time, including yourself, just so you can get that banter going and insult each other. Comedy is king in podcast form, especially. It's always good to get the ribs going. All right. And let's see, one last question here from Zach the Layman Stan. My mailbag question is this. You get to shake up the divisions with 4 team swaps. What are they? I'm going to switch 4 teams, so 2 and 2. I am going to switch the Arizona Cardinals and the Kansas City Chiefs. I'd love to see the Chiefs play in a tougher division, especially with Patrick Mahomes. I think it'd be really fun to play San Francisco, Seattle, and the Rams. It'd be a lot more interesting than playing the Broncos, Raiders, and Chargers, who have just been for a long time. I don't know that the AFC West would be that fun to watch, but I'm just doing that for personal reasons, just to see the Chiefs be in a different division. And then, this one's kind of tough. I'm going to swap Dallas, the Cowboys, with someone from the AFC East. and I'm going to go with Buffalo. So I'm going to bring Buffalo into the NFC East. I don't know that division changes a whole lot, but I'd like to see America's team play the Cheatriots twice a year. I think that would be good for ratings, and it'd be kind of fun. So that's my answer, and I personally would like at least the AFC West to stay the way it is, to be honest. But if we're just playing make-believe, I think that'd be kind of cool. Play the old Seahawks, our old rivals, plus some better competition, at least for now. That's going to do it for today's episode. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Chiefs!